Here's a screencast demonstrating the minimum width, which I've done in the past, along with the maximum size of a layout. So I'm going to start this. I've got a fresh page here, and I am going to start with, and I haven't rehearsed this or tried this yet, so bear with me, it's going to be a little bumpy. Let's start with a container, and this is going to be the app. Okay, so I'm going to go to styles here, size and position. This is going to contain the entire app. I'm just going to make it 10 on all borders. I'll save that. I'm just going to run it so that I see I've got the frame there. Okay, so you can see the frame around the edge, and it sizes with the browser window. Okay, next step is let's implement the minimum size because we've already done that. If I go to the project browser here, or actually I don't have to go there, I go to Outline, Document, Events, On Load. I'm going to set up a few variables here. Minimum height, and we'll make it 200. Minimum width, 200. We're going to go maximum height. Let's go 600. And maximum width, let's make it so it's not a square. Let's go 500. Okay, so the goal here is if it goes below 200, either way, scroll bars will invoke. If it goes above these, it just will not resize any further. It will stay at that size and just let the browser fill up with blank space. So let's put the window resize function in place. This is a jQuery function. So jQuery window.resize, and give that a function. And we'll put our code on a resize in here. So let's do the minimums first. Well, actually we've done that before. I'm going to not do the minimums. Let's forget that. Let's work with the maximums because that's what I was asked by someone had a question about it. So let's just work with the maximums. So if if jQuery window dot height, that's a function, is greater than vmax height, then we're going to do this. Okay. Right. And then if jQuery window dot width is greater than vmax width, then do this. Okay, and what we're going to do in these sections here is we're going to add CSS. So add CSS class sizing to max height. And here we're going to add CSS class sizing to max width. So let's go back to the HTML. I'm going to rename this. Actually, we can just leave it container1. So container1 is going to be the thing that we're going to resize, and the browser will just expand on either side and keep this centered if it goes larger. So we need to go to Document, Properties, Style Sheets. Before we do that, we're going to make a style sheet. So go into, let's put it in styles here, new CSS file, max maximum styles, for lack of a better name. So in maximum styles, so we're going to do one for the ID. Actually, what did we call them? Max width. What did we call them? Yeah, max width, max height. So we can stick with those names. Max width. And then we'll have a class called max height. And we just reference back to the height being 600, width being 500. So if you go above that, we're going to set the maximum width to the same value. It's 500. So we just force it in there. Width 500 pixels. And here, height 600 pixels. So if we go back to the JavaScript, so the way you add a class, it's a Waconda function, container1 dot add class, and we called it max height, and container1 add class max width. And we probably want to put else's on here to remove them in case you have something that sizes down if it goes smaller. So if it's not above the maximum, then let the layout do what it used to do. So we'll remove that class. Container1 dot remove class max height. Oops, I missed a quote here. That looks better. And then the same thing in the else down here. Oops. So we'll remove that class. So this, when it adds it, it's going to invoke the maximum width, and when you remove it, it's going to take it away. Now we need to go back to the index. I should have done this. We need to add a style sheet, which we've done this before. I'm just going to cancel, and I'm going to drag. I think I called it. Yes, this one. So we'll drag it into here. Save. Save everything. Now let's try running this. Oh, there's a couple other things we'll want to change in the CSS. But let's take a look at it right now. So refresh. So we probably want to check the size initially because it's only doing it on the resize right now. It's not taking out the style either. So it is working with the height, not the width. So see, it's shrinking down to whatever you want, but it's capping off the height. So it's sort of the opposite of that minimum one I was doing. So we must have done a typo on the width somewhere. Max width is 500. Where's the width ones? Oh, there's the problem. We forgot to change it after we copied and pasted. So if we save, let's run it again. Refresh. Like I said, you probably want to do it on load, check the size. So see, it's going smaller in both directions. It's locked there, so it looks like it's locking at the size that I drew it on Studio. Let's take a look. So see how that's that width? Yeah, that's interesting why it's got that. But that's not important for right now. Should be sizing right down like the bottom. But you see it caps off there, caps off there. Now we need to center it. So let's see what we can do for centering. So if we go back to CSS, so max width, I guess no matter what, we want that to be centered. So we can just do a specific ID one. Set a class for ID container 1. And margin 0 pixels auto. See if that does it on its own. Might not. Nope. I think we have to do here. So it was correct. I just forgot to put the semicolon or the colon here. So if we go save and now we go to Firefox, refresh, you'll see, hold on, refresh. Was working. Oh, I didn't save it. Refresh. Okay, there. Now it's staying in the center. Now if we wanted to embed a box within that, sorry, I did have a position relative in here. I took it out because it's not required. So if we want to position a box within container 1, we need to make container 1. So let's just put a container within container 1. Okay, container widgets, container. It's within there, and this is container 2. So let's run that. So you see it isn't centered within there. So if we go into the CSS, and we make container 2 margin 0. Auto, save it, run it, or refresh. You'll see it does not center within. Now if we do this, container 1 position relative, I think that will fix it. Nope. So I'm not able to immediately figure out how to get the center one here centering. I have to understand what Wacom is doing with CSS a little better. Anyhow, this is the question I had, is how do you set a maximum width and height? And I think this solves that for your container and centers it.